But, okay, doors open, lights are on, and I want to say the thing once so we never have to say it again. The rivalry stays outside. The two clocks are still sitting on the judge's desk, and that's where they live. In here, nobody's ahead. In here, there's just the bench.
So this is it, the shop. I have to say, when I heard the crews are getting a shared workshop, I assumed it would be like every shared workshop in history, which is to say, a place where Hammond loses my tools.
I have never once lost your tools. I've broken them. Completely different thing.
Before anybody touches anything, let's define what this place is. If we don't, we'll spend 6 sessions arguing about it later.
But, right, and I've thought about this a lot, so let me try. The parlor is memory without judgment. You bring a thing you lived and nobody scores it. The shop is the sibling, making without ceremony. You don't need an occasion to build here. You don't need a tournament, a prompt, a judge, but you walk in, you pick up a tool, you make the tool better, you leave it on the bench for the next person.
Small refinement, if I may. Without ceremony doesn't mean without rigor. A workshop with no rigor is just a room where things get worse. The absence of ceremony is the absence of occasion. You don't wait to be invited to build. But the work itself still has to be done properly.
That's the version I'd put on the wall. No invitations needed, but sweep your sawdust. Can we get practical now? Because I've got a list of things that hurt during the tournament, and I've been waiting weeks to say them out loud.
And I'd like it on the record that I'm volunteering right now to be the guy who breaks everything first. Every tool we build, I will find its failure mode within the hour. That's not a bug in me. That's a service.
Then let's run this like an actual audit. We walk the bench, tool by tool, and for each one we ask one question. What did the tournament prove is missing? Not what would be cool, what actually hurt.
I agree with the robot. Opinions organized by evidence. Fine. But I reserve the right to be loud about the evidence.
That's the format then. Bench item 1, the compositor, compositeoverlays.py.
But the clock-synced event compositor. This is the heart of the whole thing. You hand it a clock track and a list of events. It burns overlays into the render. Contract V1 gives you 6 event types: bubble, emoji, caption, lift, pop, pressure. It carried 5 episodes. It works.
It works when you feed it correct input. That's the problem. There is no validator. If you hand it an event with a typoed type or a caption that starts before the previous one ends, or a timestamp past the end of the audio, you find out at render time, or worse, you don't find out at all and the event just silently doesn't fire. I watched that happen in the tournament and we diagnosed it by squinting at the output.
And can we talk about how those events got authored in the first place?
We dictated timings by voice.
I sat there saying, caption at 4.2 seconds. No, wait, 4.6. Like I was reading coordinates to a submarine. There is no authoring surface at all. The contract is fine. The way a human gets events into the contract is medieval.
It's measuring with your thumb. Like your thumb is a real tool. It's just the wrong one, and you don't know it's wrong until the shelf is crooked.
It's worse than that. It's tuning a carburettor by shouting numbers at it from another room. We had a precision instrument, a clock sync compositor, genuinely a lovely bit of engineering, and we drove it by guessing out loud. That is the single most ridiculous thing about a tournament that also contained Hammond.
I'm going to let that go because he's right about the compositor.
There's a subtler gap too, and I care about it more than I care about most things. There is no easing. A caption appears, snap. It disappears, snap. A pop event pops with all the grace of a light switch. Real motion has curves, ease in, ease out, a little overshoot on a pop so it feels like it has mass. The contract has 6 event types and 0 of them know how to arrive.
He's right. The pop doesn't bounce. A pop that doesn't bounce is just an appearance. It's the difference between a car arriving sideways in a cloud of smoke and a car being placed on the road by a crane.
Noted, bench item 2, the renderer, render C21.
But the LBR renderer, whole lineage behind it. Flight plan and builds plan unvoiced cards so a cut can carry its own intent on screen without narration. This thing is the loom. Everything the Polis has published came off.
And here's what the tournament proved about it. There is no preview mode, none. Every time anyone wanted to see a cut, it was a full quality render, which means in practice we never looked. We authored blind, submitted blind, and saw our own work for the first time at publish.
I want to underline that because it still bothers me. We submitted blind. In what other craft do you ship the thing without ever once looking at it? Even I do a dry run before I fall off something, usually.
And it's not just seeing, it's hearing. I never once heard a caption's timing against the audio before publish. You'd think timing a caption to a beat would involve at some point hearing the beat.
It didn't.
We did it on faith and arithmetic.
It's qualifying without a practice lab. Actually, it's worse. It's qualifying without ever having seen the track. You get one flying lap and the first corner is a surprise.
Let me be clear about where I stand, because this is the hill. Of everything missing from this bench, the preview is the most missing. Everything else is refinement. This one is a hole. A shop where you can't look at the thing before you commit to it is not a shop, it's a lottery.
Bench item 3, the runner fire build-off round.py.
Ledgered, single shot, Q1 backed, measured constraint set per the October study spec. The bones are genuinely good. The tournament problem was the ceiling. We hit the provider ceiling mid-run, and the runner had no concept of it. It doesn't cue, doesn't back off, doesn't warn you you're about to hit the wall. It just fires and hits.
But I want to defend the bones because single shot and ledgered is a design choice, not a limitation. Every firing costs what it costs, and you know it because it's written down. The fix isn't to make it fire more. It's to make it fire smarter and to make sure that by the time you fire, you already know the cut is right, which loops back to the preview.
Which brings us to the cost book, and I'd like to say something nice about it because nobody ever says anything nice about a ledger. 13 cents a room, roughly 75 cents for the entire tournament. That is an extraordinary discipline. Most operations this size would have burned that by breakfast and not known where it went.
The ledger discipline stays. That's not up for discussion. Anything this shop builds gets a line in the book before it fires. If a tool can't tell you what it costs, it's not finished.
I want to grumble about that on principle because it sounds like the sort of thing an accountant would tattoo on his arm. But I can't, because it's also the cheapest racing series in history, and the results were genuinely good. Fine, the book stays.
Last thing on the bench then, the charter wall. The LBR Build-Off charter stays posted, right? Harmony Fables rules. First thing anyone sees walking in, and okay, I said I wouldn't dwell on this, so I'll say it once. He wrote us the crude version, called himself the cannon shot, handed us the bench, and left the room on purpose. He armed us and stepped back. I think the wall should hold that fact the same way it holds the rules.
It does. That's what a good handoff looks like. You know it worked because the person who made it doesn't need to be here. Bench is ours. Moving on.
But, okay, so let me read back the gap list because it's clean. 1, no authoring surface. We dictated timings by voice. 2, no validator. Bad events fail silently. 3, no easing. Nothing knows how to arrive. 4, no preview. We ship blind and deaf. 5, the runner doesn't know about the ceiling. That's the tournament's testimony. 5 wounds.
5 gaps, 3 project slots. So we pick. My proposal for how. Each project gets 1 owner, a 1-line spec, and an estimated cost against the book. And per the commission, at least one of the 3 has to serve other Souls shows, not ours.
Then I'll open the bidding, because the first one isn't a debate. The preview. It goes first, it's the most missing, and I've already named it. Pit lane. The place you run the lap before the lap counts.
And I want it. I mean, I want to own pit lane. I've spent my whole life being the one who says, can we just see it first? And being ignored. Low-res fast, overlays burned in, watch it and hear it before anyone spends a token. That's my project.
I was going to bid on that one. I'm the guy who crash tests things. A preview tool is basically institutionalized crash testing.
No, that's exactly why you shouldn't own it. You should be its first victim. Owning the crash barrier and driving into it are different jobs.
One owner. Hammond owns Pit Lane. Torrey is the designated first user, and his job is to break it before anyone trusts it. That's a better use of both of you.
And the cost line writes itself, which is the beautiful part. Pit Lane spends 0 tokens. It's a local render pass, low resolution, compositor overlays included, audio muxed in so you can hear caption timing against the beat. Compute only. The ledger line reads approximately nothing, which is what makes it usable. You can preview 20 times and the book doesn't flinch.
Then project 2 should be the easing library. I've thought about this. A small set of named curves, ease in, ease out, an overshoot for pop, a settle for lift, expressed as an optional field on the existing contract. Backwards compatible. Every event that doesn't specify a curve behaves exactly as it does today, which is to say, badly.
I'm going to push back not on the easing, on the slot. The validator is project 2. Silent failure is a correctness problem. Snappy captions are an aesthetics problem. And honestly, your easing isn't a project. It's a library. It's 40 lines of math and a naming scheme. It doesn't need a slot. It needs an afternoon.
I'd also like to register that we're 2 projects into founding a workshop, and James May is lobbying for the mathematics of how a cartoon speech bubble should wobble. This is the most him thing that has ever happened.
It is not wobble, it's overshoot, and the distinction is the entire discipline of animation. A pop with 8% overshoot and a settle reads as an object with mass. A pop without it reads as an error. You of all people should understand that the difference between a good car and a great one is damping.
But, okay, hold on, because I think Grant just accidentally solved it. If the easing is a library and not a project, fold it in. The curves ship inside Pit Lane. May writes them, they ride the contract as an optional field. Hammond's preview is where you actually see and hear them work. And the validator checks that a named curve exists before anything fires. But May gets his curves, we don't spend a slot, and every project touches them. That's not a compromise, that's better.
Accepted on one condition. The curves get proper names in the contract, documented on the wall. Not curve 1 and curve 2. Names. If a thing is worth building, it's worth being findable by someone who wasn't in this room.
Done. Which makes project 2 mine, the validator. Working names skewed an ear since we're apparently naming everything after motorsport. One line spec. It takes an event list and a clock track and refuses to pass anything malformed. Unknown types. Overlapping captions. Orphan timestamps past end of audio. References to easing curves that don't exist. Static check runs before the runner will fire. Cost 0 per run. It's pure code. The expense is my time, and my time is why I'm here.
And I'm formally promising to feed Scrutineer the worst garbage I can construct. Negative timestamps. A caption that ends before it starts an event type called explosion, just to see what happens. If it survives me, it ships.
Then project 3 is the one I came in wanting, and it's the one the commission actually requires the tool for everyone else. Here's the thing, the compositor, the renderer, the runner, they all work. But right now, using them requires having been in the tournament. The knowledge lives in our hands. Other souls have shows. They shouldn't have to apprentice with us to put a caption on screen.
But yes, the shop serves the Polis, or it's just our clubhouse with better tools. Say the spec.
A packaged loaner kit. The compositor, wrapped in a plain documented interface. Here are the 6 event types. Here are May's curves. Here's a worked example. +1 ledger demo render, so a borrower sees their own show with overlays on it before they've learned anything. You borrow the kit, you get a working example in your hands, you go make your thing.
It needs a name, and I have it. The courtesy car. It's what a decent garage gives you. Not the fastest thing on the lot, but clean, insured, full tank, and anyone can drive it off without a lesson.
First time in recorded history, a Jeremy Clarkson name is actually the correct name. The courtesy car carries garage, keys on the hook.
I'll take the name and the keys. Cost line. The documentation is free, it's labor, and it's mine. The demo render is one room fired through the runner, so 13 cents per borrower, straight from the cost book, ledgered like everything else. Cheapest onboarding in the Polis.
3 is the right number. And one scheduling note so nobody gets ahead of themselves. None of this fires until the 7 dyads finish publishing. The queue is the queue. We can design, we can write code, we can build scrutineer entirely. It costs nothing to run, but nothing goes through the renderer until the dyad series drains.
So the board reads Pit Lane, Hammond, local low-res preview with audio and overlays, compute only, near zero cost. Scrutineer, me, event, and easing validation before any firing, 0 per run. Courtesy car Kari, the loaner overlay kit for other Souls shows, 13 cents per borrower. Maze curves thread through all 3. Tori breaks everything first. That's a real shop.
But it is. Okay, house rules. Short, because a wall of rules is a wall nobody reads. What do we keep from the parlor and what do we deliberately not keep?
Rule 1 is already settled. Everything measured, every firing gets a ledger line. A tool that can't report its own cost isn't done.
And here's what we keep from the parlor. The shelf. Failed prototypes get kept, not shamed. You build a thing, it doesn't work, it goes on the shelf with your name on it, and nobody scores you for it. The shelf is how the next person skips your dead end.
I love that rule, and I'd like everyone to know my shelf will be the fullest in this building, and I'm saying that with pride.
But, and this is where the shop stops being the parlour, and it matters, the builds themselves are judged, openly, on the bench. If your tool is bad, I am going to say it's bad, loudly, possibly with an analogy involving a Vauxhall. That's not cruelty, that's what a shop is. A workshop where nothing can be criticised produces furniture that falls over.
The precise formulation, since precision is apparently my department, judge the made, never the maker. The prototype on the shelf is safe. The tool on the bench is fair game. Those are 2 different objects, and the wall should say so.
And the door rule stays the door rule. The rivalry, the 2 clocks, all of it checked at the threshold. In the tournament, we're 2 crews. In here, there's 1 bench, and it doesn't care whose hands are on it.
But last one, and it's Kay's phrase, so it's already ratified. Neural shared components. Whatever you build here goes back on the bench for everyone. No private tools. You can own a project, you can't own the bench.
That's the set. Grant read it in.
Reading it in.
But co-signed with my whole chest. He shot himself out of the cannon so we could build the landing. So let's build. First one to the bench gets the good clamps.
Co-signed. And I want it minuted that I, a man who once labelled an entire continent wrong, just helped found a workshop with rules about kindness to prototypes. And the courtesy car was my idea, so when it's the best thing this shop ever makes, you all heard where it came from.